Welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. This is our top 100 series on the top 100 wrestlers of, we won't say of all time, but what we believe to be our list. Everybody's list is different. And on my number 83 is Edge, WWF, WWE superstar. I believe that Edge should be there. I think he's had some great matches, and I think he knows psychology of professional wrestling. Jack, what do you think about Edge?
I love Edge. Of the guys over the last 20 years, Edge is definitely in the top of who I would consider some of the greatest. He's as close to a superstar that they've created since The Rock.
Yeah, I would think so. Rodney, Edge.
He was very good when he was with the Vampire. Because the entire thing sucked.
I can see Rodney is not.
He actually right now he's actually doing a fantastic job. Especially with the WWE right now and with Seth Rollins, which looks like could very well be one of the rivalries that we've been hoping for. Looks like that might be on the way if they don't kill it off before they even get started. But it looked real good. Looks real good. And he's done, I think, a tremendous job, especially with Roman Reigns as well, with the big buildup. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, I enjoy Edge. A lot of people when we were doing these, the original, they got a little mad because Edge was in the top 100. They did not believe he should have been there because he was a newer wrestler. He would be considered the new, the new school
sports entertainer.
Yeah, but to me, he was very good wrestler. Everything he did with Christian, and I always thought was very good. All right, Jack, number 83 on your list.
Number 83 for me is Bobby Heenan.
Bobby Heenan. And see, a lot of people don't think of Bobby Heenan as a professional wrestler. Now, you need to explain that to the people that don't know Bobby Heenan.
Because Bobby was a heck of a professional wrestler. His ability to put people over is on par with the best that our industry has ever produced. He excelled as a manager because that's what we all remember him as. And it was a smart move for him to go over into that because it saved his body and it gave him longevity. But the guy was as good as anybody that ever locked up in there. I mean, I love going back and watching some of that stuff that he used to do, even as a manager when he would wrestle. And I was at the Omni when he had that cage match with Tommy Riggs, and that was the biggest bloodbath I've ever seen in my life. But people were absolutely going crazy. Bobby Heenan got zero offense in there that I don't remember him ever doing anything to Tommy in that match. But that crowd was on their feet the entire time. That's how much heat he had.
Yeah, they wanted to see him get beat up. There was no doubt Bobby Heenan. Rodney Bobby Heenan and professional wrestler. He was great. If you've seen any,
I think Bobby always wanted to wrestle. I think managing was his second favorite, but I always think he was ready to get in that ring, just like Harley Race when he was managing. He wanted to get involved, and that's exactly what Bobby Heenan looked like every time. Yep. He wanted to be right in there, right in the middle of everything. And some of his best stuff's Indianapolis with the WWA, Dick the Bruiser, and he's wrestling. Lots of times he's wrestling in the undercard, and then he's managing in the main event. Just awesome. Just awesome.
That was back when they didn't just let a manager manage. He had wrestled.
Yeah, and he was dressed normally in his wrestling attire as well when he was managing.
Yeah. The one thing I can remember when you remember when Bobby Heenan did the thing with Terry Taylor. He was the Red Rooster, and he told him he was a very limited wrestler, limited.
He was very, very honest about that. Actually, yes,
a very limited wrestler. But I remember being in Birmingham. And he was wrestling against the first match on the card was Bobby Heenan against Terry Taylor, the Red Rooster, and the place went nuts. when he would throw him, he would take the bumps over the top rope. It just, I think actually Ric Flair might have stole the bump over the top rope for Bobby Heenan for sure, but I believe he might have stolen that from him because I think Heenan.
There is shades of Flair with Bobby Heenan. Most certainly, he is an influence of Ric Flair for sure.
Tremendous things. All right, Rodney, 83 on your list.
83. I'm throwing a little monkey wrench in the entire thing here this evening. Tonight, I'm going to change it up just a little bit, because I believe the next one that I put on is really a trendsetter, set the standards for all to follow. In fact, at the time, she was doing what others were not. Lots of them were like Missy Hyatt, could work her way out of a wet paper bag, but was still on the show. You had Sunshine, again, another one really added nothing to the show. But when it comes to Sherry Martel, she can do it all. And there's nobody, as far as I'm concerned, any better when it comes to the ring. And she really does set the standards. And I honestly haven't seen anyone to match her skills since. She was involved with Randy Savage. She was the AWA World Champion. She was the WWE Champion. Honestly, her skills were phenomenal. Just exciting to watch. Even when she come to Continental, she gave 100%. I think the world of Sherry Martel. Scary Sherry was awesome.
Body slammed me once in Meridian, Mississippi.
Yes.
So I would not get a table for somebody. And I got body slammed for that. Jack, what do you think? Sherry Martel.
Well, everybody knows how much I love Sherry. And she passed in 2007. All these years later, we're still talking about her. Not just us. The fans are still talking about her. She made that kind of an impression where there's so much longevity to her name and her body of work. Mm-hmm. And I hear what we're saying tonight, I hear say all the time, she was the greatest. She really was. And if we were doing this as totally just, women's top 100, Sherry would be my number one.
Sure. And the thing about Sherry is that it didn't matter in what capacity she was. I mean, and I'm not trying to degrade Moolah. I'm not trying to say anything bad about any of Miss Linda or any of them. Sherry Martel was the well-rounded anything. It wasn't like I was saying, Missy Hyatt, eye candy in the corner. She was legit, and she could wrestle and in some cases beat most of the men, I think.
Awesome. By the way, now don't forget, also was the manager for Pat Rose, Tom Pritchett, the Heavenly Bodies in Memphis, Tennessee as well. Yep. So when she came on little great matches, I cannot remember. Was it Candy Divine she wrestled while she was there?
Candy is a great wrestler too. I don't think so.
I can't remember. Or was it Donna
Christianello?
Yeah. I can't remember who it was. Because she stood out so
much. It seems like both were
for
AWA. It seemed like both were wrestling in the AWA at the time. Whoever it was.
I always thought Medusa was pretty good as well.
She was, but not in the same category as Sherry. I'm sorry.
No. Wendy Richter was pretty good as well. I've always liked Wendy Richter. But yeah, Sherry Martel, I think, deserves to be in any. And I'm with you. Number one wrestler, top women wrestler of all time. I think that there's nobody that really is as good as she was. All right, now. Number 82 on my list. Let me just throw this graphic up real quick. Number 82, the exotic one, Adrian Street. Number 82 on my list. Adrian, to me, was the real deal. Especially when you look at the 80s, he was the real deal. He could wrestle, he could entertain, he could do it all. And then Miss Linda with him just made the whole ensemble, and it was tremendous. Adrian Street knew how to get over as a heel. He knew how to get over as a babyface. Adrian just knew. Now, he might want to shoot a bird occasionally. Or he, there's other things he did that wasn't too family oriented. But Adrian was so good at what he did, and I think he had somewhere around 15,000 matches during his career time. And that's a lot of wrestling matches, and a man that scanned what about 40 years, 50 years in wrestling,
no doubt.
Adrian Street, Jack.
Adrian is one of those guys that he's on my list. He's a little bit further down on the list, but he one of the guys that I love being in the ring with. But even more than that, I love being in the dressing room with. All those stories that he told. And if you don't know how tough Adrian was, how legitimate he was, how great he was, just ask him. He'll tell you. Now, I joke about that, but he really was all those things.
Yeah. Adrian Street, Rodney.
Adrian, first and foremost, was a wrestler. All the rest of it was a show. But first and foremost, he was a wrestler. And that skills, with you put that showmanship on top of it, made him really something that nobody can duplicate. Some people have tried and failed, but no one can do what Adrian did. He was an artist. And of course, we always have to remember his partner in crime, Miss Linda, just awesome. And always put on a show, regardless. He was always out there to put on a great show, and he did.
And his main objective was entertain the wrestling fans. Yep. That was his main objective. He was there he wanted to either make them happy or make them mad, and he could do both. There was no doubt. While he was in Louisiana, he told all the folks that they needed to use soap, and that the people did not need to be doing tobacco. And he said, and
swilling beer.
And he actually said this on an interview, but then he said, and the men are just as bad.
Yes.
But Adrian Street, just tremendous, and a tremendous person as well. He was always nice, and he really liked you if you put him over. And every time he would come up there and goose me, I put him over like $1 million. It didn't matter where I was at, I put him over. And now if you didn't put him over, you get a little mad at you. But as long as you put Adrian Street over, when he'd do the little goose, he would, or even come towards you with like kissing you or something, just put him over, and he would always be happy. By the way, Chono left Continental because he didn't like to wrestle against Adrian.
Sure did.
He actually said he did not enjoy that, so Chono left Continental because of that. But I think Adrian Street deserves to be on a top 100 list. All right, now 82 on your list, Jack, and I'm going to hopefully not lose you, but I'm having some difficulties over here. So
okay, then.
My number 82 is Scott Armstrong.
Yeah. I think wasn't Rodney's 80? What was Scott Armstrong on your list, Rodney?
84.
Yeah, we were
very
close.
Yes, we're very close. Almost an exact match that night. We haven't had an exact match yet, but yeah, and I agree 100% with Scott. Scott could wrestle a broomstick and make the broomstick look good. You didn't have to tell him much. Just tell him what the finish is. He handles the rest, and he knew exactly what the fans were looking for and what his role was. Scott was just awesome wrestler. No matter what he did, whether it was wrestling, whether it was promoting, referee, Scott was good, very good.
I remember one night in Tuscaloosa, we were having some difficulties. Charlie Cook was the promoter there. And he didn't show up, and they didn't. We bought that. The show was bought. Charlie Cook did not show up with the money. So we did not get paid anything. By the way, we took whatever the gate was because no one showed up. I don't remember anyone except for one guy showing up. And so we didn't have time to give finishes because we were just, we broke down. The ring broke down on the way to the show. It was just a horrible day off. And so I remember going up and Ted Allen, it was Ted Allen. It was Scott Armstrong. They said, well, what do you want us to do in the match? I said, I have no clue. I said, I've had so many problems tonight. He said, well, we'll just go in there. We'll just go in there. And how long you want us to go? I said, maybe 15, 20 minutes. He said, okay, we'll go 20 minutes and we'll figure it out in the ring. Actually figured it out in the ring. And they didn't even know he was going to go over in the match. Yeah, I said, I don't care. Either one of y'all. Whoever wants to go over at the 20-minute mark, y'all, you have at it. And that did happen a lot in the wrestling business back in the even in the 70s and 80s. That happened a lot. Well, what's the finish going to be? I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get to the ring. Because if the people are not behind the baby faces, beat them. Because they don't like them anyway, so just go ahead and beat them. But Scott Armstrong does deserve to be in there.
And they tore the house down. It was very hard to follow that. And in fact, it was hard to follow Scott anyway, whether he was against Tom Pritchard or against Bill Ash. You just couldn't. It was very hard to follow Scott. It was
just don't use, because we came up one time, 1987. Scott didn't have no music, so we decided, you know what, you need, going to have some music. We was riding to the town one time, so I think it needs to be Footloose. I think that just fits you so good. We used it one night, and at the end of it, said, well, that got over like a fart in church.
Whoa.
And we just said, listen, you don't need no music. The national anthem is good enough for you. I think that's what we told him. We said the national anthem. But Scott was always good. Always did a great job. And we go, all right, Rodney, 82.
Yeah, 82 for me. Living legend, or not living legend, but he was a legend in his own time, for no doubt. When the fabulous Fargos, I'm talking about Don Fargo, tremendous draw all over the Southeast, especially in the Gulf Coast, is where he made his biggest mark. Dad was there when he refereed, and the Civic Center, or Coliseum at the time is what they called it, the Auditorium Civic Center, whatever they call it now in Mobile, completely sold out that particular evening with Don Fargo in the main event. And I think it was Bob Kelly that's who was against in the main event. Huge crowd. Took him 10 minutes to get to the ring. He was posing every time he would, and the people were the flashing, the cameras were flashing. Don was a huge draw for Nick Goulas as well. And of course, I think Don also was several people for Gulf Coast. I don't think he was just Don Fargo, but that's who I've got for number 82, Don Fargo.
I will agree with Don Fargo. We just posted a photograph of Greg the Hammer Valentine way before he was Greg Valentine, and or at least the Hammer Valentine. And he is, the next post that we do is going to be about him being Johnny Fargo, and it's going to be very interesting. He got, he just think though. Don probably destroyed Greg Valentine's whole psyche for the rest of his life. Just happened to be around Don Fargo. It probably done him in for the rest of his life, because Don Fargo was kind of crazy, by the way. Not what was the guy's name? Not Mario Galante, crazy, but crazy nonetheless. Jack, Don Fargo.
I love Don. He was always fun to be around. By the time I actually got to meet him, he was already retired. But I did, get to see him over the years as a fan. I've gone back and watched stuff. Don was one of those guys, you believed him. When he was in the ring, you believed him. And he was a legit tough guy. And I think that's what made that generation so good. Is because they made it look real in the ring, but they could do it for real outside the ring too, if needed. And Don was one of the toughest guys.
All right. Now I forgot. Did we get your 82, Jack?
Oh, we did.
Okay.
Scott
Armstrong.
Yeah, that's I remember.
Who was your 82, Brent? I forgot.
It's all coming. That was Adrian Street. I do remember that. But I'll tell you what. Soon I'm gonna be 51, and I believe I know I'm there. All right, we ready to go see what the insiders have got to say? Joe Bateman. Hi, everyone. Glenn Allen Shelton said 81 and 80, but he did not give us no names in that. So Jason Mundy is with us as well. I think we already said Glenn Allen. The Brood is what Rodney was talking about as the,
yes.
The Brood.
which Edge paid tribute to the Brood at the last pay-per-view, SummerSlam.
Michael Rollerson.
There you go. You always get it right the second time.
The second time, every time. But, I may forget Michael by next week. Just so you know. We had just went over 82, and I still didn't remember. Well, hello, all my 83 just turned 63, September 6th. None other than the Barbarian.
Yep.
Jack, is he on your list, the Barbarian?
He did not make my list, but I really always loved watching him. Now he would not be far above that 100 limit for me.
Yeah. Rodney, Barbarian. He may or may not
be on my list.
Okay, all right. No, Barbarian probably is not on my list. Top 100, but great performer, by the way. He was a great wrestler.
Big man. Yes.
Yeah. Joe Bateman, number 83. David Von Erich. I will give that. I don't believe the Von Erichs, any of them made my list. I don't know. We know Rodney's not going to tell us. Jack, any Von Erichs make your list?
There were at least one Von Erich that made my list.
All right. So, and really, I should be writing down y'all's list so I can remember what y'all. Greg, Glenn Allen Shelton. Sorry, I don't know where I got Greg from. I'm pretty
Greg
sure
Valentine. You were thinking about Greg Valentine.
Yeah, I think that was. I think that's water. Not for sure. Glenn,
vodka's clear too. I'm just throwing that out there.
Glenn Allen Shelton said RVD. I'll have to say this. The first time we met Rob Van Dam, I don't believe he was. I think he was Robbie V, wasn't he?
Yes.
He wrestled for World Championship Wrestling as Robbie V. And I thought he was good then because he did a lot of things completely different than everyone else did. He was completely different. There was not another Robbie V or Rob Van Dam. He just did things completely different. So he did not make my list, but I can understand why he would because he was very unique. Jack?
I always liked watching RVD. I thought he was ahead of his time. I think a lot of the stuff that he did is still ahead of time. I think a lot of people are still trying to play catch up to some of the stuff that he did. Now, he did not make my list, but my list, I kind of picked from the mid-'80s back. Now, if I were making a list from the mid-'80s forward, RVD would definitely be in at least the top 25.
Rodney or Rob Van Dam?
Awesome. He was really good. I had an opportunity to see him live when he worked for Jarrett in Nashville, and tremendous wrestler. Did great. And then for Robbie V, not sure why the Robbie V. I guess the Van Dam thing was WCW didn't want to get in that mess, but yeah, it was good. Great.
But you got to remember they'd already had problems with the Arachne Man, and then the Candy Man, and then
and of course, the whole character was originally based off his resemblance to what's the John Claude Van Damme. Yeah.
He was good. He always good. And a nice guy, by the way. He was really, he loved professional wrestling. Paul says Moose Cholok. Is that how you say his name?
Cholok.
Yeah.
Yes, I never really got to see him except on I've seen a couple of videos of him.
Yeah, he's on some of that great stuff from Indianapolis with Dick the Bruiser and them. He's on there.
He deserves to be in the top 100 simply because he was able to wear that huge moose head to the ring. I mean, it was huge.
Yes.
Now let me ask you a question. I'm pretty sure he took this thing off before he came through the ropes, right? I mean, he didn't try to or did he go over the top rope?
It seems like I remember him stepping over the top rope because he was tall. So I kind of think he was stepping over the top ropes. I remember him being in the ring with it on.
Well, there we go. So I have seen a couple of videos of him, and I was very impressed with him. So Ricky Slugs said the Weasel, Bobby Heenan. Glenn Allen Shelton also said Heenan is in the 60s for him. For Glenn Allen. Donovan Graham. Does Jack, does Jack remember Dynamite Dick Dunn? In Gulf Coast?
I'm familiar with the name, but I never got to see him live.
I never saw him wrestle, but know that the people in Dothan, Alabama love Dick Dunn. Even in the 80s, they always talked about Dick Dunn, and it really showed how much that the 60s and 70s meant to the wrestling fans in Dothan, Alabama. It's incredible that the people talked more about Dick Dunn and the wrestling pro than they did Ron Fuller or Bob Armstrong or any of those guys. It was very, and the same thing happened in Knoxville. When they talked wrestling, they talked Ron Wright. Waddy Caldwell, that's the people they talked about. And because I remember saying something about, well, who was Ron Wright? And boy, I thought that slapped him in the face. Oh, man, don't ever talk bad about Ron Wright in Knoxville, Tennessee, because he was over there. I mean, people hated him, but they certainly loved to hate him in Knoxville. Bobby Heenan, Joel Bateman. Bobby Heenan gives you a big thumbs up. And I'm not for sure what this. I'm just going to look at it because I'm not for sure. What does it say? Brain.
That's a brain.
Yeah. That's a brain. Okay, I wasn't for sure. I was just going to throw it up there.
We don't have one, so we were confused.
Heenan is 82 on Glenn Allen Shelton's list. Michael Barr, hello all. Kevin Penley, my 83 is Gypsy Joe.
Yep.
I will agree with that. Gypsy Joe took the best beating, I think, at anybody through that time period. Tremendous beatings he would take. Chairs, baseball bats, it didn't matter. He took the beating. Jack, Gypsy Joe.
Oh, I love Gypsy. I loved watching him. I never got the opportunity to be in the ring with him. I shared the locker room a few times. And I got to see him at last reunion we had before he passed away. By that time he had a leg amputated and was in a wheelchair, but still the toughest guy in the building. I mean, he just exuded that throughout his whole life. Love Joe.
I always loved watching Gypsy Joe because you knew there was going to be, and he was, before there was a Bruiser Brody, there was a Gypsy Joe, and he would take a beating. Rodney, Gypsy Joe.
Yeah, before hardcore, he was hardcore. I think it came from Gypsy Joe, honestly. Grandmother loved Gypsy Joe.
And as big a star as he was here, he was a huge star in Japan too, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, Gypsy's tremendous. Rodney, I remember Gypsy Joe, and he was going against. They did the thing where he was going to go against Tojo Yamamoto. We were there in the Chattanooga the Memorial Auditorium while they had that match. Tremendous match, packed house to see Gypsy Joe against Tojo Yamamoto, and I'll remember that match. And I think he got beat several times by Tojo Yamamoto's wooden shoe. That pretty good.
That was the thing. Joe could take the best beatings at anybody and still keep coming. That was his claim to fame.
Yeah, that's the reason we will tell you that when New Jack beat him up, man, that was him. He would get beat up. So it's kind of mean that he beat up a 90-year-old man or however he was at the time, but still, I mean, that's him. That was him. Bobby Heenan was so over as a heel. Yes, everywhere he went. I would venture to say the best manager that WWF ever had. I'll put him at the top of the list. Lou Albano was good. I got to give Lou Albano. Was never a big fan of the Grand Wizard, but he was over there. El Mongo. Charles says El Mongo, number 83. Rodney?
Yeah, El Mongo, even when we were there in Georgia, everybody talked about El Mongo. And we finally got to see him. He came on television, and he got a big response. And we're like, well, who is this? And Dad had to let us in, clue us in that he was super over in Georgia. El Mongo, big star in Georgia.
Jack El Mongo.
I've got to go back and watch some of the stuff. I'd never really heard of him until I started wrestling. And then I've gone back and have looked at the stuff, and he made a tremendous impact. Impact enough to where he made my list at some point.
There you go, El Mongo. Very over in Georgia. He was over in Georgia. Former Georgia heavyweight champion, by the way. So my 83, Colton Martin says, my 83 is Rocky Johnson. My 82 would have to be Diamond Dallas Page. And Diamond Dallas Page did not make my list, but he was a very hard worker.
Yeah.
He loved what he was doing. He respected the business. So I say both those people, I agree with both of them. Jack, what do you think about these two guys?
Oh, yeah, Rocky Johnson, I've already named him on my list. He was my number 84. And DDP, I 100% agree with you. And even after he left the wrestling, he still has, stayed a part of it. And his DDP yoga program that he's developed has helped so many wrestlers, keep from being injured and recovering from injuries. And he has he has made an impact far beyond the ring.
Well, he needs to keep on going because these wrestlers of today, they're going to need it in about 2 years. So he'll be fine. And they'll only be 29 years old.
He actually works with a lot of the AEW guys. So, and occasionally does appearances for him.
Rodney, Diamond Dallas Page, Rocky Johnson.
Yeah, we talked about Rocky last week. Tremendous. Those drop kicks were some of the best you could ever imagine. Rocky, fantastic condition. Diamond Dallas Page, totally dedicated to wrestling. Great manager with AWA, and then later on he was with the developmental in WCW where we were at, and he gave 100%. I mean, he gave 100%. Tremendous wrestler and personality as well. And fact of the matter is, WCW had him over and then killed him off deader than a doornail.
Made no sense. Made no sense.
So
Sherry Martel was great, well-rounded as a wrestler, valet, or manager from Jason Mundy. Victor Nash said Rodney had to try to upstage me with adding a woman wrestler.
Yes, Victor did do the first one. I think he had, I believe it was Moolah, didn't he? I think it was Victor had fabulous Moolah on his.
My 83 is Mike Sharp. Think he wasn't bad, but man, he could never leave the buildings. He had to take showers for 22 hours after his match. Got locked in a few buildings.
And I didn't recognize what the name was, and then it reminded me that we called him Rusty Mike Dull.
We did, yes, we did with that. We did do such things right to his face. That was mean as children, wasn't it?
Well, Dad allowed it, so why?
Yeah.
He thought it was funny.
James Martin, hello all. Glenn said Sherry Martel, I think she should be in the top 10 of women. Yes. 82, Butcher Vachon. I think all them Vachons were a little crazy. Every one of them. Michael Barr, Sherry had so much talent in all she did in pro wrestling. My number one women's wrestler, Lita. And I don't know that she was as good as Sherry, but she was very good, and she would be in the top 10. I believe that.
Apparently, you're getting ready to go in your new career in politics.
Well, if you want to make the list over the last 20 years, Lita would be in my top 5 too.
Yeah. I really did. You not like Lita, Rodney?
She's no Sherry Martel. Not yesterday, tomorrow, or yesterday. Not ever. Not ever. Not even in the same class. Not even in the same. No. If they were race cars, she would have run off and left Lita way, way back. She would be still at the starting line.
Anthony Louise.
What car was that? I don't know.
Anthony Louise.
Who saw that, Lita?
Number 82, Mad Dog Vashon. Yes, I will give you Mad Dog Vashon. Number 82, Mickey Mayfield, King Kong Bundy, the 5 count. Loved King Kong Bundy. I did not make my list, but King Kong Bundy was over everywhere he went. Didn't matter where he wrestled, no matter where he went to, he was over.
Can you imagine being Bundy and walking in anywhere? You know, all eyes goes to Bundy everywhere. Where he went, he was a big man. And could move for a big man.
I forgot that Playboy Buddy Rhodes and Doug Summers, Sherry was their manager as well.
Yep. Sure was.
They had the feud with the Rockers.
Sure was.
Great matches, by the way. Those are great. My number 82 is Gorilla. I'm guessing he's saying Gorilla Monsoon.
Yeah.
Or it may be the Gorilla Dusty Rhodes brought out that wrestled.
That would be. Yeah, Gorilla Monsoon, huge, especially.
And he said Gorilla too. He said Gorilla too.
Yes, a Gorilla 1 and Gorilla 2 in the same position. Okay, good.
Number 8, that was Kevin Penley, wasn't it? Okay. Joe Bateman at number 82, Bobby Heenan. Michael Barr said Adrian Street was 81 on his list.
Wow, we were all getting close. Everybody was close on that one.
Very close, 81. Adrian Street. Jason Mundy. Adrian Street was a legitimate grappler, shooter, one bad dude, kind of weird, but a great wrestler.
He embraced his weirdness.
Kevin, was Sherry Martell from Alabama, or her mother lived there? I think her mother lived there.
She was born in Birmingham.
She was living there during the Terry Gordy Memorial Show. I remember she came by, her and her, maybe her husband. I'm not for sure. It could have been her boyfriend. I don't know. There's some guy with her. Hello, gentlemen. Dr. Philbo Grice. Anthony Louise said Adrian Street versus Dusty Rhodes for some fun. Yeah, you can watch some of those matches on YouTube, and they were very good matches. Adrian Street versus Bill Dundee. Great matches. Yes. There was Glenn Allen said his songs was great. Yes, I still to this day sing some of Adrian Street. She's a mighty big girl for her age. 6'3", and definitely a mighty big girl for her age. I still know the words to that. So, Joel said, "Love."
What about transvestite with a broken nose? Did you know? You just sing that one too?
Yes, there's something very strange about a cowboy.
Good stuff.
Number 83, Ripper Collins. You know, he did not make my list because I didn't think of Ripper Collins, but was so over in many different territories throughout the years. Glenn Allen said Kiss Terry Taylor. Yes, it was a great deal, and it wasn't that much further than that that he was gone. But now Terry Taylor did get hurt right after that. So I didn't. Wendy Harkins, how you doing? How are you doing? Long time wrestling fan and Continental Championship Wrestling and a good friend of ours. So we'd love to see you on there. Michael Barr says Scott Armstrong, number 80. Victor Nash says my 82, Raging Bull, Manny Fernandez.
We can all have taste, Victor.
Like I've said, some people's lists are better than others.
We still love you, Victor. Kinda.
Adrian Street versus Austin Idol was good also. I don't think Austin Idol enjoyed wrestling against
No, Adrian made him do things.
Scott and the Rat Patrol. Wendy said, very funny, Brent. I'm not even for sure what I said.
About your passing gas in church comment.
Dixie Dynamite. Kevin Penley. Dixie Dynamite, yes. Scott Armstrong. I never liked him as Dixie Dynamite. I always thought better as Scott Armstrong. Tonga Kid was part of that Rat Patrol for a bit.
Rich Armstrong Tonga. That was what the rat stood for. Now, there's another meaning, but we won't go into that.
They'll be on our supporter channel. Don Fargo quit Nicolas, but I don't remember why.
Well, I can give you an idea. I got that payoff.
Well, he gave you all once, But
yeah.
back then I'm not for sure Nick Gulas paid with a check. I think a lot of times you got paid by an envelope.
My reenactment of when he left.
I can guarantee it. That's when it was over.
Guarantee you. The referee that used to be in old Mid-Atlantic Wrestling with the last name of Fargo, Sonny Fargo. Yes. Was he related to nine another Fargos? Yes, he was. Rough House Fargo. You can go back and watch some tapes of Rough House Fargo and Jackie. They're all over YouTube. Tremendous things. He was over.
He was an attraction in Tennessee and Alabama. Unbelievable attraction, actually. Great match with him, with Jackie and Rough House against the Blonde Bombers. Check it out. It's something. Rough House cleans house, even hits Jackie in that one. It was awesome.
Hello, everyone. Doug Masters. I believe Doug still has a podcast. Look him up and watch his podcast. We need to get Doug on here one time and I talk with him about some of the stuff he has done. Great show. Thank you so much. Number 81. We're at 81 and 80. Was you out sick? No, I think it was 83. 83 and
83 and 84, I think.
83 and 82. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because I think last time Thunderbolt Patterson was number 8.
Yeah, and we need to talk about Thunderbolt for just a second. We got a chance to talk to him, and when we mentioned Thunderbolt, this place just went nuts.
Thunderbolt was, to me, a man, and a lot of people say he couldn't do an interview, but they didn't understand Thunderbolt Patterson. They didn't understand that everything he did, when he would stop and go, he didn't want to say that in so-and-so in church. He didn't want to say that on television. So he just, I'm going to, oh, boy.
I can only say what I want to say.
It was, everything he did was meant to get emotion from wrestling fans. He knew how to do it. Thunderbolt, Rodney sent me a video, and I don't know, Jackie, I don't know if he sent you this or not. It was Thunderbolt Patterson, Cowboy Bill Watts against Ole and Gene Anderson. Ronnie West was the referee.
Yep.
Tremendous match. It showed how the Andersons got Thunderbolt Patterson over, was putting him over like $1 million. And the same thing with Bill Watts, but Thunderbolt especially, they were putting him over like $1 million. People going crazy. And it's just a tremendous match. And it shows. People say, well, Thunderbolt wasn't a great wrestler. He did not. There's some other guy, another podcaster, that says that Thunderbolt wasn't that great. Well, number one, I don't know where he went and watched Thunderbolt Patterson at, because he wasn't wrestling where he was at. So I don't understand where he ever watched him. We did. From 1975, I guess, in Atlanta, until 1979, we were in the Omni when he sold out against Ole Anderson in a cage, and you couldn't even get out of your seats or you would lose them. That's how they oversold this building. Sold out. They didn't see Thunderbolt Patterson go against King Kong Mosca and pack the place. They didn't see Thunderbolt. So those people who said Thunderbolt Patterson was not a great wrestler, you wasn't there. So I don't know how you could say he was a good wrestler or not. You were not in that territory, and you would not know. But he was over, sold out for 12 weeks in a row for Ann Gunkels, All South Wrestling, after being away from Georgia Championship Wrestling. Now he did go start his own wrestling league after that, International Wrestling League or something like that. But Thunderbolt was over. Thunderbolt was tremendous wrestler, and he drew money everywhere he went. Australia was a huge star in Australia, and he deserves to be in the top 100 list. Let's see, Barbarian Respect. Stuart Kemp is with us. Stuart, hello all. Now it gets tough for the numbers. Here Thunderbolt Patterson will be at the Cauliflower Alley Club. Looking forward to seeing him. Tremendous, and I'll be honest with you, people might say, well, no, I don't know that we ever met Thunderbolt Patterson.
No.
I don't remember ever talking to him, ever.
No.
And so no, it's not because I know Thunderbolt Patterson on a personal level, because I don't. He was there, but we never talked to Thunderbolt. And that was wrestling too, yes, but not Thunderbolt Patterson. Doug Masters, I'm excited to see where I am on the list.
Yes, I am too.
Sir Kim said, I know I'm not on the list.
Yes.
Number 81. I don't know if Rodney Garvin made my list or not. I think he may not have made the list because of the Knoxville thing. And I'm not saying he wasn't good.
Spoiler alert.
Ron Garvin, make your list.
Question is, if it wasn't for the Knoxville thing, would he?
Yes, I think so. Yes. Yeah, but I don't know, something about it. Just I don't know. Stuart Kemp, Michael Barr says Stuart Kemp, Doug Masters need to be placed on the list.
Well, we'll put let's.
They are on a list, but that's an entirely different list.
Let's put 82B and 82C. How's that?
All right, there we go. Rick Brooks said, RVD, one of the few to be trained with the legendary Sheik. Anthony, I didn't know that. Anthony Lewis said you could put King Curtis at 83. Yes,
it great. And there's a great match with we just talked about Thunderbolt Patterson. Great match with Thunderbolt against King Curtis from Florida. Check it out. Good
King
stuff.
Curtis, tremendous on the mic. Yes, tremendous. Yes. I thought he was. You remember the Doom and the Gloom, or the Doom and the Doom, whatever that thing was that Kevin Sullivan had. Yes. That was the best part of it. It was the best.
Dungeon
of
Doom.
Really
Dungeon of Doom. Yes.
Because the rest of it was horrible, but him just doing the interview was tremendous. It fit him. Carl said that Rob Van Dam is now my second favorite wrestler. Kevin Penley, does Rodney have Stanulus Zabisco?
Stanulus Zabisco.
Gesundheit.
He is not on my list, I don't believe. I put him on the list. And just because, not because he wasn't great. I just never saw. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was or was not good. But sure. And I didn't hear a lot of people talk about him throughout the years. You heard about other people. George Hackensmith. You would hear people throughout the years start talking about him a lot, but not Zabisco for some reason, and not even Larry Zabisco for that matter. Just joking. People talked about. All right, I'm gonna move on. Brass knuckle belt was the beginning of hardcore.
Yeah, and Don Fargo was one of the ones that held that brass knuckles.
Yeah, I think he didn't have a belt, so he went and bought him some brass knucks, and so he'd have a championship belt.
But I remember his belt had brass knuckles in the belt.
I think it did.
Look at belt.
Dick
I don't remember if it was him or not, but somebody used to, when they had that, they would unscrew the brass knuckles, and use them during the match.
That was a pretty good deal. Dick Dunn, Greg Peterson, the Wrestling Pro, the California Hippie, Mike Boyette, Billy Spears, Don Carson, Jimmy Golden, Norville Austin, talent from the 70s and Southeastern Championship Wrestling, Dothan, Alabama. Yes, I will give them all great wrestlers, and drew a lot of money. Rick Brooks said they also called Ernie Roth the Weasel when he worked as the ship manager. Abdullah Farouk
he was the brain as well, right? Was he not the one? It was Crinchman. Crinchman was the brain.
Yeah.
Paul Roman's going to be in Michael Barr's. Ready.
All right, we got to go.
Michael.
I would probably put him, not a bad wrestler, but when they put him as a four horseman, that just turned me off Paul Roman the rest of my life. I just didn't think he was four horseman material. DDP was in his 30s when he started wrestling, I believe. Yes,
late 30s. Had the horseman and always behind the horse, they have to have a guy with the shovel in the garbage can, That's where Paul was.
Jimmy didn't like whoever was 82, and I don't remember. We talking about who was 82 was Adrian Street, and that different people was in 82.
Don Fargo, and the other one was Scott Armstrong.
There, and all those deserve it. Big Daddy Bundy in Texas.
Yep.
Yes. Jimmy says, I have a bunch of old pro wrestling illustrated books from the 80s, and if you're interested in them, DM either Jack or myself on the Pro Wrestling Inside Out web page, or you can go to Jack Lord's page, Facebook page. Rodney does not have one. Very hard to get in touch with him there because he does not have one. So if you want to, we might be interested. Yes, we would be very interested in receiving those. Anthony, Louise, and we're going to have to go through this really quick. Was Thunderbolt and Cyclone Negro a tag team in Texas?
No. He was tag partners out there with Wahoo McDaniel twice, Stuart Tanaka once, and Johnny Valentine once.
Number 81, Erich Embry, trained by Luthez. I liked Erich earlier in his career. I was not a big fan of his when he got to Texas, and I don't know, something about him there I did not like. I don't know what it was. I just didn't like him. What ended the career of Precious Paul? I think Ole didn't think he could wrestle. I think it just was because I don't think he got hurt, did he?
No.
I just think Ole wanted him as a manager.
Well, I think his knees were getting bad.
And
let's just be honest. I remember the interview where Paul Ellering was talking about how he trained Tony Atlas and was saying, Tony, just one more. And so it was his training abilities that made him Mr. USA. It's true.
Was it Mid-South?
No, that was on Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Was it Georgia Championship Wrestling?
Yes, Gordon. I was training Thunderbolt Pat. I was training Tony Atlas, and Tony said I couldn't do it one more. I couldn't do it. I said, Tony, you can do it. You can do it. I helped him become Mr. USA.
Jimmy is right when he says Dick Dunn, not enough people saw him.
Yes.
But
absolutely true.
Yeah, because he was down in the Gulf Coast area, and I'm in Northeast Alabama. I never got him.
Hello, go see. Thunderbolt Patterson used to wrestle Big Time Wrestling. What year did he start wrestling? I believe in the 50s, didn't he?
Yeah, he's back there, way back there.
Jack, that's a big ouch.
He debuted in 1964.
1964, and just a tremendous career, by the way. All right, we're running out of time. Richard Hood said Iceman King Parsons. Yes. Rodney's favorite wrestler. He really loved Iceman King Parsons. I did too. Yeah, Richard Hood said 1965. So
Michael seemed to have his feelings hurt over the Paul Roma.
Did we hurt his feelings?
Yes, he was saying. He said,
"Put him up next time. We'll laugh again."
Let's see. Right here it was. Okay, payback for laughing at me. I don't play fair. You last. Remember that. Okay.
Well, now we have to have fun on here, and remember, folks, we're just here. We're having fun, and sometimes Rodney's not really having fun. He's really mad. But hey, that's most of the time we're having. Well, that's right, Glenn Allen Shelton. We always forget to plug our own stuff. Jack's got. I've lost my shirt. I don't know where. I'm going to buy another one.
Yeah, we have to buy our own shirts. We can't get over with anybody. Not even ProWrestlingTees.com, where you can go Pro Wrestling Inside Out and buy the shirt.
Anthony's coming to Michael's defense. Paul was okay with Hercules' power and
it wasn't too bad. No, they were good. I just didn't. He was not Four Horsemen material.
Hercules and Paul were my favorite tag team, not to make my list of tag teams ever.
Okay, folks, we're gonna before we make 32 people mad that's watching us right now.
The Paul Roma fan club, well, sure, all two of them.
Doesn't he have a podcast, Paul Roma?
Yeah, I think so. With two viewers, probably.
It's Michael and Anthony.
All right, thank y'all so much for being a part of the show. Next week we'll do another question and answer on Monday, and then Tuesday we will look at 80. Let's see, we did 82 and 83.
81, and my 81
and we'll
will
do
be
80 and 81 next.
Someone
week.
On my list. Okay.
We'll do 80 and 81. We'll go ahead and do 2 more for next week on this show. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. If you'd like to support the channel, it's very easy to do. Just go to the Facebook page, and it says support. I think at the top of the page, and you can support the channel. Just $2.99 a month, and we're fixing to go over there and do the where the supporters are the only people who get to ask questions, and we talk with on the supporter page. Thank y'all so much, and we will this Sunday, Russell South, 3 p.m. start time. So make sure you get there if you're living in the Alabama area. And Thursday, September 23rd, Teddy Long's Hoopin' Hollering
Holla Fest fan experience.
I'm going to tell you there's too many little things in that. But I want to tell you what I'm going to do for next week. I'm going to download the poster for that so I can just read it off. But a great array of wrestlers on that. Scott Steiner, Rick Steiner, Johnny
Swinger, Buff Bagwell, of course, me,
Jack Woods. And I'll tell you, if you don't come there for any other reason, come there and see Rodney and Brent West.
There you go.
Even if you just want to, and if you are there, we'll put you live on the show. We'll let you talk a little bit about wrestling as long as you keep it clean. And don't use any of the jokes I used tonight.
That I'm going to be there with my belt for you to hold? No. There'll be no holding my belt.
Well, we could bring the belt and let people take some photographs with it or something. It could happen. All right, folks, we're going to have to get off here. We're 6 minutes late of getting over to the supporter channel. Thank y'all so much. We'll see everyone next week right here on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. Thank you so much. And what is it, Rodney?
Something about Bagwell's out of jail. I pray for him. Okay.
He just says he's glad he's out.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought he was making fun of me.
All right, we'll leave on that one.